Disclaimer: the stories and content shared on this channel are works of mythology, folklore, and creative storytelling intended purely for entertainment and educational purposes. They do not represent factual events, advice, or instructions to be followed in real life. Viewers are encouraged to enjoy these tales with imagination and discretion. The creator of this channel is not responsible for any misunderstanding, misuse, or harm that may result from the interpretation of this content.
Welcome, seekers of stories. If you're new here, this is the place where myths, legends, and forgotten tales come alive. And to our returning subscribers, thank you for walking this journey with us once again. If you enjoy stories filled with mystery, power, and life lessons that linger long after they're told, make sure to hit subscribe, tap the like button, and share this with friends who love epic tales. Medusa, the Beauty and the Curse.
Feared by warriors across Greece, her name alone sent shivers down the bravest of hearts. One glance at her eyes meant certain death, your body stiffening, your breath stolen, your flesh turned to unyielding stone. She was Medusa, the woman the world remembers as a monster. But the truth of her story is far more tragic, and far more human. Medusa was not always the creature of horror carved into legend. Once, she was mortal, unlike her immortal sisters, born of the sea gods Perseus and Medusa. From the moment she drew breath, Medusa shone with a beauty so radiant that songs were written about her. Her long flowing hair was said to rival the goddess Athena herself, and her presence drew pilgrims from distant lands who claimed that simply glimpsing her face was like beholding divinity. But beauty, as the myths warn us, is both a gift and a curse. Medusa's devotion was not to love or vanity, but to the goddess Athena. She swore her purity, serving as a priestess within the marble walls of Athena's temple. Yet whispers spread, people dared to say that Medusa's beauty even surpassed that of the goddess she served. At first, Athena ignored the rumors. But jealousy is a slow-burning fire, and in time, admiration turned to resentment. It was then that Poseidon, lord of the seas, laid eyes on Medusa as she walked the shore. Instantly smitten, he pursued her with the relentless force of the waves themselves. Medusa, bound by her vow to Athena, resisted his advances again and again. But to a god, rejection is not endured, it is challenged. And for Poseidon, Medusa became not just an object of desire, but a chance to spite Athena, his long-standing rival. One fateful night, Medusa fled to Athena's temple for safety. She begged for protection beneath the gaze of the goddess's statues. But the temple remained silent. There, in sacred ground, Poseidon claimed what he wanted by force. When dawn came, Athena appeared, not to console, not to defend, but to condemn. To punish Poseidon was unthinkable. Gods did not suffer judgment from one another. Instead, Athena turned her wrath upon the mortal who had suffered. Her once glorious hair twisted into a nest of venomous snakes. Her enchanting eyes became cursed, so that anyone who dared look into them would be frozen in terror, their body locked in stone. From beauty to horror, from priestess to outcast, Medusa became the monster of legend. Word spread quickly. Medusa was no longer seen as a victim, but as a prize. Warriors from every corner of Greece sought her head, eager to claim glory. Yet each who dared step into her lair never returned. Statues of broken men marked the path to her cave, grim reminders of her power. At last, Perseus, the son of Zeus, was chosen to end her terror. Unlike the others, he was not alone. The gods armed him for the impossible. From Hades, a helmet that cloaked him in shadow. From Hermes, winged sandals to fly swifter than the wind. From Athena herself, a polished shield like a mirror. And finally, a blade forged to pierce even divine flesh. Under cover of night, Perseus entered the cave where Medusa slept. Her serpents hissed softly as they coiled, sensing danger even in dreams. Perseus dared not meet her gaze, one mistake, and his fate would be the same as the statues that littered the cavern. Instead, he raised Athena's shield and watched her reflection in its bronze surface. Step by step, heart pounding, he drew nearer. Then, with a single strike, the blade cut through the darkness and silenced her forever. Medusa's head, still alive with riding snakes, became Perseus's weapon. With it, he defeated kings and monsters alike. And though she was slain, her story was never forgotten. But perhaps the true tragedy of Medusa lies not in her monstrous form, nor in her violent end, but in how she was betrayed by the gods, by the world, and even by the goddess she once served so faithfully. Her myth is a reminder that beauty, power, and envy work hand in hand. And that sometimes, the greatest monsters are not the ones cursed, but the ones who cast the curse.